Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of my YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There is a link for that down in the description below. Let's see. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board. That Pinterest board is a great place for you guys to see some of the things that we are enjoying as we lose weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you have any on-scale victories, I love hearing those as well. If you are succeeding with your diet, let me know what you're doing to succeed. If you're struggling with your diet, let us know what's causing your struggles. Maybe we can help you out. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that will make staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Gonna switch over to the main here. A couple people checking in. Rochelle, hi. Tennis and Yoga Girl says hello. You're going for a walk now and looking forward to listening while you're incorporating movement, doing some multitasking. There you go. That's awesome. I hope everybody had a great day. I didn't say it in my intro, but today is day 892. Is that right? Now I lost my 892 of my challenge to lose 300 pounds. And it was a very busy day today. I'm happy that I'm not 520 pounds anymore. It would have been much more difficult and much more uncomfortable at that weight. I'm going to go ahead and go over the food that I ate since yesterday. I don't have a lot of photos. I didn't eat a lot of food, it feels like. But then thinking back, I did eat a lot of food at the same time. So let's pull this up here. Last night, it was Monday. I talked about it a little bit on stream about having new habits and, what are some of the habits that you have changed as you've started eating a healthier diet. And one of our habits is Mega Veggie Chili Monday. And yesterday we had Mega Veggie Chili for dinner. Some great flavors in there. Carrie was very excited because she had used up the last of the chickpeas or garbanzo beans that we had. I believe that they were what she was excited about was that she took them from dry bean and softened them, whatever you do to soften them. And then we ate them before they went bad. So anyways, that was in there last night. And yeah, Mega Veggie Chili. I really enjoy Mega Veggie Chili. Something I say every time I talk about it is, this is a food that showed me or proved to me that you do have a taste adaptation that happens when you eat food. When I first ate this and before I started this diet, I would have never even tried eating this unless you disguise it as a chili, and if it would have had hamburger in it. But it took me a couple weeks, but after a few weeks, I really started to notice the flavor in it and really started to enjoy it. I did not get a photo of the broccoli I had this morning, but here is a photo of the oatmeal that I had. That is what I had. I had a big bowl of broccoli and then this oatmeal today, and that's all I've eaten today. Like I said, it was a very busy day. I was running around between a couple different buildings that we have stuff at, and then also my kids had a school program today, and it was really nice to skip out of work for a couple hours so I could go watch their school program. And that was a lot of fun. Something that always comes up when we have a school event or a school program is some of the anxiety that I would get from going to those events. My kids go to an elementary school that is in the same school district that I went to school in. And so when I go to these school events, I end up seeing a lot of people that I knew from high school. I can think of off the top of my head 4 people I saw, um, at least, that were people that I went to high school with. And in the past, I would have anxiety going to these events because I didn't want them to see me at 520 pounds. And going there today, I didn't have any of that anxiety. I'm pretty much the same weight I was when I graduated high school. So I really haven't changed, and seeing some of them, they have, some have gotten bigger, some have gotten smaller, more probably bigger than smaller, but it was nice to be able to go to that event. I ended up having to go solo. The school set it up that they had the kids do the program twice today. They had them do a morning performance and an afternoon performance. I was unable to go to the morning performance because I had a doctor's appointment, which I'll go over in a minute as well. Very busy day today. So Carrie went to the morning performance, and then I went over and watched the afternoon performance. So I was there by myself. My sister-in-law was sitting next to me, I guess, but I had went there on my own. So the other thing I had today was I had the doctor's appointment for my bicep tendon. I had the tendon surgery on December 28th, and so I've had 3 full months of recovery since I had the surgery, 3.5 months of recovery since the surgery. It was an incredibly quick doctor's appointment. I was very surprised. My doctor's appointment was set for 8:05 this morning. I showed up right around that time, checked in, sat down for a few minutes, and then the nurse called me back to the office. I sat there. She just asked me a couple questions. How am I doing? What's my pain level? Told her I didn't have any pain. Everything's been going well. And she started to say, all right, well, it'll just be a few minutes and the doctor will be right in. And as she's finishing the sentence, the doctor opened the door and came in. And so I didn't have to wait at all for the doctor, which was surprising and great. It made things go very quick. The doctor checked a couple things with my elbow, made sure that I had full range of motion. He did something he called the hook test to make sure that the tendon felt like it was attached well where he reattached it at. And then he had me do that's a supination. Yeah, I think a supination test where just tested my strength or my ability to go from having my palm flat to having my palm up. And everything went well. He was happy with everything. Said that as far as he was concerned, there was nothing else that he would be able to do. And if I had any issues in the future, to give them a call and let them know. But there was no reason for me to go back and see him. So I've finished my my seeing the doctor for the surgery. Things have been feeling good the last few days. I had mentioned, he asked me if there's anything I'd like to be able to do that I haven't been doing. And I mentioned that I do run a moving company, and there is some occasion where I need to move furniture. And he kind of because at first he was kind of like, yeah, you can do whatever. And then I said, I have a moving company. He was like, well, be careful picking things up with your palm up in the air. If you can have your hand in a neutral position, or your palm down, that's better than trying to lift stuff with your palm up, which is how you pretty much lift anything in the moving business. So he just told me to take it easy as far as that goes, not to jump right in to moving big, heavy furniture. I'll do my best just to avoid that, I suppose. But there's only so much of it I will be able to avoid. So yeah, doctor's appointment went really well. I asked him about physical therapy, how much longer I need to do that, or if I need to do it. He said I should continue to do physical therapy for the next 3 weeks. And I can do kind of as much or as little as I want with the physical therapy. Right now, I've only gone and seen the physical therapist probably like once a month at this point since the surgery, just because my recovery's been so much faster than what the recovery protocol allows for the physical therapist to do. So like I can only I can sit here and I could pick up a 30-pound weight and have no problem with doing that. But the protocol only allows me to lift and raise my arm with a 5-pound weight. And so the physical therapist has kind of been like, you don't really get anything out of coming to physical therapy because you can't really do as much as you're already, at physical therapy, we're not able to have you do as much as you're already able to do at home on your own. So I do have a physical therapy appointment this week on, I think it's Thursday morning. I have physical therapy. So I will go check, go there and, see if he can put my arm through a bit of a workout, I guess. The last time I went to physical therapy, it was a pretty good workout on my arm. I definitely was sore or worn out a little bit by the end of the session. So hopefully it'll be a productive time for me this time. Any other new things? Well, I do have a wound on my lip that, if you're watching the video, is this big red mark on my lip. That is a battle wound I got from shaving my face. I did clean up my beard and shaved my face. This razor I bought that was supposed to be micro whatever design, not to cause me to cut my face, would not have cut my face if I wasn't an idiot and had kind of brought it to my lip at an angle, and I caught it at the corner of the blade instead of hitting my face straight on. So I suppose that is a thing that happens when you shave your face. And I don't have a lot of experience shaving my face. I think I mentioned it before, is that there's 20-year-old kids that have shaved their face more times than I've shaved mine. So my internet says we're having problems. Let me know how things are going on your guys' end, if anybody's out there, or just my bit rate went to nothing. Let me see. This isn't connected anymore. Let me know if you guys are having any issues. Give it a second to try to flush itself out. Let's see. I think maybe it is working a little bit better now. Doesn't seem to be cutting out. It still says warning, but the video seems to be getting... let's see, Linda here says it's flashing and freezing momentarily, intermittently. Yeah, let me see if it clears up. The video was doing that kind of distracted me here. So I'm watching it now and seems to be doing better. We could probably do this and see what happens. If there's any issues here. So, let me see how that comes across. So Tennessee Girl says you can hear me, so you can at least do that. So it seems fine at the moment. All right. So yeah, I was just talking about my inexperience with shaving and how I cut my lip and it bled like horribly. It just wouldn't stop bleeding. I had to keep kind of dabbing at it till it finally stopped. And then this morning, when I ate the first thing I ate this morning, it cracked it open again and bled a little bit more. So hopefully it's done doing that and it'll just heal itself now. So the other topic I wanted to talk about today was how you need to stop eating fat and you need to stop storing fat. Linda says that every week I'm looking younger each week. Well, I appreciate that. I feel younger each week too. I really do. Having all that weight off of me has made an incredible difference in every aspect of my life. Barbara's asking if anybody's listening to Dr. B's summit this week. I don't even know what I know Dr. Bulsiewicz, I imagine, is who you're talking about. But I don't know about his summit. There was some emails I got from the Better Life Summits. Is he on there? Or is it Dr. Barnard? It could be Dr. Barnard. There's a Food Revolution Summit coming up. Is that the one that you're asking about? I don't see the date on here. But I did have an email about the summit. That's the 26th. So that's not the week you're talking about. So I'm not sure which summit you're talking about, but let us know. One of the things that Dr. McDougall always, I've heard Dr. McDougall say is, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And I really feel that it's something that I ignored in the past, or I didn't understand it quite as directly as it was. I thought that everything you ate became one big ball of energy that your body took from, and then it stored fat from that ball of energy that it gave you. I think that is more how I understood your food consumption. I didn't really think of it as proteins and carbohydrates and fats being different once they went into your body, that they were just calories at that point. And what I'm realizing now is that that's not the case, and that the fat that you eat, that fat gets stored on your body. And from what I've heard, they could biopsy that fat, and they could biopsy that fat and know where the fat came from. And it got me thinking about my diet and how successful my diet's been, and where a big part of my success has been is, how low of fat my diet is. And the lower the fat in my diet, I feel like the more I lose weight, or the better my weight loss is. And so when I'm eating things like avocado or cashews or nut butters, those things are, have fat in them still, and it causes me to not lose weight as fast or as easy as I want. Okay, Linda says it's kind of giving her some fits again. I'm going to try to just keep doing the audio. Sometimes the audio works, and then the replay when it comes up the video works better. But I got thinking about the fat and bringing the fat in and how it's a different substance than the other foods that you bring in. And it's crazy how your body takes the fat and stores that fat. And what's been amazing is that when I don't have fat, I'm not in need of fat. Like when I don't consume fat, my body has storage reserves of fat that it can go to, that it can use that fat so it doesn't need to have more fat added to the system. If I get to the point where I get down to 170 pounds and don't have any fat on my body, then at that point, maybe, then having more fat in my diet would be an important thing. But right now I have still a large percentage of my body weight is fat, or, is straight fat. And our bodies are so efficient in so many things that we do. And when it comes to storing and burning fat, I feel like our bodies would, our bodies are, I've always felt like my body was incredible at storing fat. And I had proof of that ability to store fat because I had fat all over my body. I didn't, and then part of me going into water fasting was the belief or the mindset that if my body is so good at storing fat, why wouldn't it be good at going back and retrieving that stored fat and using it? Why would it only be good at storing it and not using that fat? And that's what got me through my water fasting. That helped me be confident that I would survive my water fast, because at the end of the day, if my body needed energy, there was fat for it to go to. And as I'm losing weight, and I was thinking about it being like, our bodies being a machine that runs very well. I got thinking about, well, I don't know what happened there. I'm still live, right? My video completely went out on my screen. Let me see what's going on. Okay, it says, all right. But I got thinking about if you had a t-shirt manufacturing company, if you had a company that manufactured button-down t-shirts for people to wear, and you had red shirts and blue shirts and green shirts and white shirts and black shirts and all these different shirts, and all of those different shirts had different color buttons that you used for the shirts. And you would order the materials for each of the orders that you would get in at one time from your manufacturer. And every time that you would order materials from your manufacturer, you would over order buttons. And so you would get the project in, you would make all of the shirts for that project, and you would have 100 extra buttons laying around. You'd also have extra fabric and materials, but a lot of that would be cut up and it wouldn't be reusable. But those buttons that you had, those extra ones, would still be usable buttons. So instead of throwing those buttons away, you would take those buttons and you would go put them in a box in your storage room to have extra buttons in case you had another project that you were short black buttons. Then you could go and grab buttons from there. But over years and years, you continued to have this situation where you would buy the materials for the job and then you would have excess of buttons. And I was doing that same thing with the food I was eating. I would eat a variety of materials of food, of protein and carbohydrates and fats, and my body would use up the carbohydrates and the proteins to help me live throughout the day, and then it would use some of the fats, but then there would be extra fats laying around. And my body would say, hey, let's take those extra fat that it's still usable and we'll just throw it in the storage room. just like you threw the buttons in the storage room. And then 10 years down the road, you get to a point where the button manufacturer goes out of business. You can't get buttons anymore. Or you're trying to cut costs and you're trying to figure out how to make a little bit of extra money. And you're looking at what you have and you realize that you can stop ordering buttons. You have thousands and thousands of extra buttons sitting in the room that you can just use those buttons because you want to keep, let's say your button manufacturer goes out of business. You can't get buttons anymore. You still want to sell shirts, and you can still get the cloth, you can still get the thread, you can still get all the other things that you need for the making of the shirts. You just can't get the buttons, but you have a big stockpile of them. Then you could just continue to order the materials you can get, and then you could go to your stockpile of buttons and use the buttons until you run out. And that's what I'm doing by eating a low-fat diet. Is I'm going and instead of ordering new buttons or finding a new distributor for buttons, I said, I don't need any more buttons for a couple years now. I can just go with just getting my other macronutrients, and I will use the stored fat on my body when I need to go to fat reserves. And I feel like that is how our bodies are designed, or that if you ran if you ran a t-shirt manufacturing company, that's how you would go about running your business the most efficient way possible. And your body's going to do things as efficiently as possible. Your body wants to conserve energy, so it's going to be efficient. And so by eating a diet that doesn't have any added fats or any added oils, and keeping the foods that I do eat, even though there are foods that are high in fats that are acceptable in my diet, limiting them or removing them completely allows my body to go to those fat reserves. Because my body's never going to, I'm not at 270 pounds, even at 220 pounds, I'm not going to go to a doctor and the doctor's going to say, oh, you are, what's the word I'm looking for? You're lacking in fat. You don't have enough fat. Like, I wouldn't have a doctor tell me I don't have enough fat until I got to the point where there was no body fat on me, like there's not people dying from, there are, but I'm not going to be dying from a fat deficiency anytime soon. So the video did go out, but you guys are back here. I hope that it kind of stitches it all back together or something. I don't know what it'll do, but it still only shows as one live stream as far as I can tell. So Barbara said the summit that they were talking about was the Empowered Guy Summit by Dr. Will Bulsiewicz. And I think Pretty Girl's mom or somebody said that they were listening to it. Yeah, Plants Only Muncher said that they're listening to the summit. And then there was, Barbara says there was an excellent speaker today who is a dermatologist from London. And it started yesterday, and all videos will be available. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check out maybe Dr. Bulsiewicz's social medias to see where it is at. Plants Only Muncher says that all of the summit videos will be available until Sunday night. So you can still sign up for it and see yesterday's and today's videos. Well, that's kind of cool. Like, I liked being on the, what was it? The Truth About Weight Loss Summit, but it was unfortunate. The videos were really only available that day that I, did the speaking. I don't think that they had them up any other days. You could purchase all of the videos, I think, from them, but they were just up for a day. I'd be interested to see how many more people would have been able to watch them or would have watched the video had it been available for a few days as opposed to just the one. So, but yeah, I'll have to check that out. And I was talking to some people the last day or so just about my diet, because there's a lot of people out there that just cannot fathom the idea of not eating animal products. And I think that that's one of, it's got to be one of the places that I was getting all of my fat was from animal products, because I wasn't really eating any vegetables of note. And vegetables don't have any fat in them. So, the whole of my, 300 plus pounds of excess body weight was from the consumption of animal products. It was from the dairy, it was from the cheese, it was from the high fat meats I would eat, it was from the grease I would eat. I suppose some of it was from plant oil. I guess that's where I would have had my fats, but I also eliminated plant oil from my diet, so I don't eat any animal products and I don't eat any oils. And it's, people, they're struggling with weight, they're struggling with health issues, and they aren't putting that idea together that the fat that you're consuming is the fat that gets stored on your body. It's the fat, like, why wouldn't it be? Why would the protein you eat be the fat you have on your body? Why would the carbohydrates you're eating be the fat on your body? And if the problem you're having is that you're fat or that you have excess body fat, then why not cut out the thing that you have too much of? They say we're dying of diets of excess. And that's one of the things that we're eating in excess of is an excess of fat. And we try to blame it on other things because we're afraid to give it up. Like the people I was talking to about eating, a vegan diet or not eating any animal products, they're sitting there going, how could you give up steak? And I'm like, well, you didn't just eat steak. You would take the steak and you would dip it in steak sauce, or you would put garlic and herbs and things on it to change the flavor of it, to make it taste more like plants. Like, to just take a straight piece of steak and put it on a grill and just eat it with no seasoning doesn't sound very good. You don't do that with chicken. You bread it and you fry it, and you're not eating it just as it is, just as it, a lot of times we're changing it to make it taste like plants. But at the same time, you're saying you couldn't give it up, but you're masking the flavor of it a lot of times or you're enhancing the flavor a lot of times with plants. And this thing that you're unwilling to give up is the source of the excess fat in your diet. For me, the cheese and the dairies, like I wouldn't get anything, any sandwiches that didn't have cheese on the sandwich. My favorite parts of going to Taco Bell was the cheese sauce that they would put on their breakfast burritos. And like, that's all just unnecessary added fat. And I couldn't figure out why I was so fat. Why couldn't I do anything about it? Why couldn't I stop eating? And it was, it was I was worried about the wrong things. Carrie's checking in saying, hey, Carrie, hope everything's going great at home today. Sure, the kids are a little bit wound up with them having, like, I can't imagine they did anything at school today because they had their program twice, but I bet they're wound up. But yeah, I didn't see it. And then I see people like, and now I do, I feel like I've had my eyes opened to this excess fat that we're eating. And, the, you know, I just, it drives me crazy because I was them. Like I was absolutely in the same position as them. I was, Carrie says she needs to put trackers on the kids. They're all running all over the neighborhood. Uh, I was the person that would have said that I'll never give up meat. I'll never give up, ribs and, uh, lasagnas and all this other stuff that I, um, now I could care less. I have zero drive, none. Like I'm so far away from that being a source of food for me that it's not even in consideration. Like uh, and I know now that doesn't have a composition that's going to benefit me. It's not gonna help me get to my goals and help me lose weight. Rochelle here says that your sister called your pizza not a pizza because it had no cheese. Well, that's the definition of pizza, is it has to have cheese. I've seen some different types of pizzas, and there are some places you can get vegan cheese on pizza, but then fine. I'm having triangle sandwiches. I don't, call it what you want to call it. There's people that get upset because they use the word plant-based chicken or plant-based milk or, like, it doesn't matter what the words are. It doesn't matter. It's food. And yeah, and it's called pizza today. It might be called something tomorrow. Who knows? It's just kind of um um I don't know. It's annoying, like Linda said yes. Um because yeah, I feel like I'm so confident in this way of eating and these choices that I've made that it's hard for me to see from another side, I suppose. But when it comes to health, I don't think that there's any argument that can be made that cheese is something that is a healthful thing to eat. Like, there's not a redeeming factor about it other than the taste. That's the only reason we eat it, is for the taste pleasure that we get from it. Maybe the addictiveness of it. I don't know a lot about the chemical makeup of milk, but from what I've seen, that there is some trace of addictive chemical in milk, which to me makes sense biologically, that you would want a child to be addicted to its mother. Also that, I was at the program today, and, these kids, there's a wide range of what, skinny kids to overweight kids, and um the ones, like, I really believe in this volume eating. I believe that we all have this set, maybe not set, but we all have this amount of food that we prefer to eat. And when I see, the population of kids that I saw today, and I can see that, there's kids that are skinny because they don't eat a lot of food. And even though the food they eat is junk food, it still doesn't amount to a lot of calories. Then there's other kids that eat a lot of food that are skinny because the food they're eating is healthy food and it's lower in calorie density, like just because that's the food that they, you know, with what they eat at school plus what their parents provide them. And they're still skinny, but then there's kids that are eating a small amount of high calorie foods or a large amount of high calorie foods that their weight just is heavier and heavier. And if all of the kids had the same, if we were all eating from the same buffet table, like that's what I think is, because we have to look at not just like the individual items that we eat. Oh, don't eat this individual thing or that, but it's the broad spectrum of everything that we eat. Over the years, the buffet table of food that is in front of all of us has is just become higher in calorie density as time has gone on. If you went to the grocery store in 1950 and bought one of every item, set it all out in a big banquet hall, and averaged out the calories of all that food, that would come to a lower amount of calories than if you went in and grabbed groceries today, laid it out there, and looked at the average calorie density of the food that we eat now. And it's something where as a population we're moving in the wrong direction. We just think of all of the focus diet and health has been within our culture for the past 20 or 30 years. If I mention the name Richard Simmons, so many people know who I'm talking about. If I talk about The Biggest Loser television show, that was a huge television show that I'm sure a lot of people have watched that television show. The different doctor shows on television, the 600-pound life, all these different programs that are focused around us losing weight as a population, but we're not losing weight as a population. Like, we're all watching this stuff, we're all being influenced by it. But I think what happened for so long is that especially with things like The Biggest Loser, is you're watching The Biggest Loser and then a Pizza Hut commercial comes on, like it's defeating any influence that you would get from watching the health show is getting diminished because of the advertisements that are surrounding that health show. And even the advertisements that were masked as beneficial, like a Subway, come get your Subway sandwiches, and they're healthy, like that isn't necessarily true. There might be some sandwiches you could get there that would be healthy for you, but it's not the case for everything that's at that place. So it's almost like saying, well, McDonald's sells salads, but McDonald's only sells salad so that the person who's not making the decision of where to eat has something to eat. Because if they were making the decision of where to eat, they wouldn't have chosen McDonald's. And that's not, even though it's on their menu, they've probably had a lot of bags of lettuce go bad because people didn't eat them enough. Plants Only Muncher said that Chuck Carroll was on that summit today and told his story about Taco Bell and the cheese in all of their products. Yeah, I mean, Taco Bell was my jam. Like that was one of those restaurants that I know they knew me. Like the people that worked at the line knew me in my order. Like I would come in and man, it would be like wow, yeah, 4 or 5 like breakfast burrito things. Like, and it was always their uh orange like Baja. No, it was energy Kickstart. They had a Kickstart energy drink that they sold at the Taco Bell that we had here. Um, but yeah, I would absolutely get their breakfast as much as I felt comfortable. Like, I would never go to the same restaurant 2 days in a row. I never wanted to do that. So I might go to a Taco Bell on a Monday and then maybe hit it again on a Thursday or a Friday. I would end up going to Wendy's or Burger King in between, getting their breakfast. But Taco Bell was the king of breakfast, for me, for sure. Um, and their other sandwiches were also, you know, I mean, I was spending 15 or 20 bucks anytime I went through the fast food line at a place like Taco Bell. So yeah, it's crazy how easy and accessible that food is. You know, look at the fat content of that food. It's through the roof. And I was wondering why I was fat. And it was from eating those fatty foods that, there was nothing redeeming about anything. The Crunchwrap Supreme I would get would have lettuce in it, but I would order it with no tomato. So yeah, I would yeah. Anyways. Um the yeah, just seeing the difference it's made by removing the fat. I'm removing the fat from my body, and when my body needs fat, it has a place to go. Like, there's never a reason. Like, my body, if I start to crave cashews or start to crave avocado or start to crave a nut butter, it's not the fat that I'm craving. It's the dopamine hit that I'm hoping to get from eating that higher calorie dense food. And because my body has fat that it can go to. It can always run and grab some fat from the storage that I have. And it's something where um by removing it, I've seen incredible benefits, and so I'm happy with how it has been. And yeah, and then I was talking, the animal products I've removed is a huge percentage of the fat that I was consuming. And even people that are unwilling to give up animal products, I would strongly urge you to give up your dairy, give up the cheese, give up the butter. Those are things that you don't need, like it's, that's the, so many people like that in those conversations I was having today, they were talking about, oh, how could you never have a nice steak again, and it's like, well, you eat that steak without butter and let me know if you like it as much. Don't add the oil, cook it without oil, cook it without butter or added fat. Um, and then so many of these other things that we eat, I would smother the meat in cheese. I would never eat a hamburger. It was always a cheeseburger. I would get cheese added to chicken sandwiches sometimes. Just anything, I would order mozzarella sticks or cheese curds. I used to get cheese curds from an A&W fast food restaurant around us. And just an excessive amount of fat. And it's no wonder you're fat if you're eating an excess amount of fat. So cut the fat out of your diet, and you'll start to see the pounds melt away. But I am going to get out of here for today. I appreciate everybody who has been supporting me throughout this whole process. Tomorrow is weigh-in Wednesday. I'm excited to hop on the scale, see how I did over this holiday weekend. I know so many people struggled this weekend. I hope that your weight didn't suffer because of your weekend. I hope that your weight excelled because of how you did this weekend. But I'm going to get out of here. Thanks, guys. If you have not hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up on this video, even though the audio and the video might be crap. Hit the thumbs up anyways. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. There's nothing coming up that's more important than your health or your overall well-being. And there's nobody who reaches their goals, looks back, and wishes they would have waited. So I will see you guys tomorrow.